So, Congressman Kash Patel, is this drinking at this point a national security concern?
Obviously, it is. If the reports are true, of course, if the reports are completely fictionalized, as he says, then it's not a national security concern. But I would hope all Americans could agree that if it's right, that it's a national security emergency to have the FBI director dependent on alcohol and passing out drunk.
Now, what do you make of the Republicans' single-minded focus on getting ICE funding through reconciliation? They're not trying to lower prices at all. They're just kind of focusing on keeping their masks on the agents through this reconciliation bill.
I mean, I'm afraid that our Republican colleagues have totally lost the thread here. There's no political program to help the American people. There's nothing about getting prices down, making housing more affordable, making healthcare more affordable, making groceries more affordable. They're just serving the richest people in the country and then investing in ICE and their immigration crackdown.
Got it. Thank you, Kash.
You bet.
We have some major news. FBI Director Kash Patel disclosed in a 2005 letter that he'd been arrested twice, once for public urination and another for public intoxication. And given what we just learned about Kash Patel drinking on the job, this probably does not help his case. The letter obtained by The Intercept was part of Patel's personal file at the Miami-Dade Public Defender's Office where he worked. It wrote, quote, "Per instructions of my employer," and he describes incidents of alcohol-related indiscretions, not uncommon for those in their teens and 20s. One incident described by Patel occurred in 2005. He was a law student at Pace University. He was out drinking with friends, and he writes, "In a gross deviation from appropriate conduct, we attempted to relieve our bladders while walking home. Before we could even do so, a police cruiser stopped the group. We were then arrested for public urination." And during an earlier incident in 2001, Kash Patel was removed from a baseball stadium in Virginia and then arrested after leaving by a police officer for public intoxication. Apparently, he was being far too rowdy at the baseball game. And despite Kash Patel suing The Atlantic, claiming that it's defamation, the journalist behind the piece, Sarah Fitzpatrick, says that more people have come forward with stories about him, further corroborating her reporting. So yeah, not a great look for Kash Patel if you're trying to convince somebody that you don't drink on the job.
Breaking news into the Don Lemon Show newsroom. As we have been saying, the next person to go in the Trump administration would be Kash Patel. According to reporting coming from Washington, specifically from one of my friends, Dasha Burns. She is reporting for Politico. She spoke with an official at the White House that said Donald Trump is tired of the negative stories coming out about Kash Patel, and he thinks it is a distraction, similar to the negative stories about Kristi Noem, the negative stories about Pam Bondi, and so on. You cannot be a distraction. You cannot take attention away from Donald Trump, especially in a negative way. But the reporting coming out of Washington is that Kash Patel is the next cabinet official to be fired, and they believe it is imminent. As soon as we get more breaking news into the Don Lemon Show newsroom or details on this breaking news, we'll let you know.
People you fired, those 12 people, they were experts on Iran, were they not?
I don't believe so.
They worked in counterintelligence, did they not?
I'm taking you at your word, sir. I'm not familiar with every
You're the
single
chief
word.
director. I'm not. You should know the answer. You fired the people. Where did they work?
People were terminated for violating their ethical obligations and the high standards.
Was the ethical violations that they dealt with the case of the classified documents that were found in the bathroom in Mar-a-Lago, was that the ethical issue?
As I said earlier, all those matters are pending litigation, so I'm not going to comment on them.
FBI Director Kash Patel sued Atlantic for 250 million USD. They published a story about him that he's an alcoholic. The guy drinks like a fish, and most of the time, his security team struggle. They always struggle to wake him up to do the job. Yesterday, he had a conference. He was briefing the journalist how he's going to sue them, how he's going to fight back, that these guys are lying. This is what they have to say.
So Kash Patel is suing The Atlantic for $250 million because they said he's a drunk. Yeah, you can't win a case like that just because they said something you don't like. You have to prove that they're lying. And I think we have a lot of proof that they're not lying. It's pretty evident he has a drinking problem when he's taking the FBI jet to drink around the world. And then he announced that he will be arresting people sometime this week in relation to the 2020 election. So he's doing that for two reasons. First of all, Trump's kind of had it with the little hobbit. So he's on his bad side and he's trying to get on his good side again. Second, they want to lay the foundation so they can challenge the election this November. But we're not going to let them do that because we're going to show up in numbers way too big for them to mess with. So they can do all they want. All this trying to cheat and tell everybody that the election isn't secure, but we don't have to listen to that. We can all get out and vote and make sure everybody we know votes. This is just another distraction from the Hobbit and the orange turd. So ignore that and keep pushing to elect Democrats this November.
Kash Patel was a drunken piss boy back in the day. Turns out the director of the FBI has been arrested twice before, way back in the day in his youth. Once for public intoxication because he was underage, and the other for public urination. Now, I know plenty of guys that had similar run-ins with the law when they were kids who turned out to be upstanding members of society that don't have a drinking problem, but this does add a little bit of credence to the Atlantic article about his alleged drinking problems.
Kash Patel just ended his own career with his lawsuit against The Atlantic, which is pretty ironic coming from a man who was so concerned when he got locked out of his email that he got fired, that he's actually doing this and opening himself up to discovery. In case you missed it, The Atlantic published a piece going, "The FBI director is MIA," and it outlined allegations of serious concern over Kash Patel's alleged use of alcohol and times where he was unable to be reached, including an incident where they considered using a battering ram to break down his door. Now that the lawsuit has been filed, any evidence that the reporter had to back up their claims that Kash Patel is MIA and not doing his job as the director of the FBI is going to enter the judicial record. It's going to be made public. This could include anything from emails to phone calls to text messages outlining specific incidents where Kash Patel had engaged in excessive drinking, or if there's an exchange related to breaking down his door because they can't reach him. That's all going to be made public, and Kash Patel just made himself a massive liability for the Trump administration. So if he was worried about losing his job before, he's even more at risk now if this information becomes public that he does have an issue with alcohol and he is not fulfilling his role as director of the FBI and putting national security and public security at risk.
Here at MS Now, we're revealing an explosive pattern about FBI Director Kash Patel's actions. When Patel is under fire himself, he often follows up by firing FBI agents. He lashes out to fire people within his own agency when he's facing his own bad press. The most recent example came just a few weeks ago. Patel jets off to Milan on the FBI plane for the Olympics.
Yes, congratulations, USA!
Patel's spokesperson tells MS Now this is a business trip. And then we all saw Patel's idea of a work trip. 2 days later, Patel ordered the firing of at least 10 FBI agents and staff who had participated investigating Trump for concealing classified documents at his Mar-a-Lago club after he left the presidency. The next day, Patel fired 2 more FBI staffers. In January 2026, the New York Times published an explosive insider account of FBI staff describing Patel's first year in office as chaotic and rudderless. The next day, Patel ordered the firing of 6 agents who had been based out of the Miami field office and a handful of other senior supervisors. Again, in September 2025,
a new and explosive lawsuit against FBI Director Kash Patel.
Patel faced reports of a lawsuit claiming he knowingly broke the law when he fired 3 top FBI officials. According to the suit, Patel stated that he knew it was illegal, but he had to make these political firings to please the White House. Then this.
Within a week, Kash Patel ordered the firing of 10 FBI agents who were pictured 5 years earlier taking a knee to show solidarity with people protesting the police killing of George Floyd.
In late October 2025, a social media influencer revealed flight records showing the director had taken a government jet to see his girlfriend perform the national anthem at an event in Penn State. The day after that news broke, this happened.
Fired the day after the news broke, a 27-year FBI veteran named Stephen Palmer, who headed the critical incident response group that oversees the FBI jet fleet.
This is a pattern playing out for Patel. And inside the FBI, staff have been tracking it and growing concerned that Patel is jeopardizing the FBI's mission solely so he can change the channel on his own bad press and shore up support with President Trump, according to multiple FBI sources who spoke to us at MS Now, with people on the inside saying he's undermining the FBI's critical mission with his inexperience, misusing an FBI jet for joyriding on taxpayers' dime, and running a rudderless ship as head of the Bureau.
We are expecting Trump to conduct mass firings over the next several weeks to month as he is running down the clock now. The reality is setting in that the midterms are going to be terrible for Republicans, and they are very likely to lose control of the Senate. So he's going to fire people he wants to get rid of that are causing problems for him and replace them while he still has control of the Senate with a majority Republican Party. So guys, we'll see what happens, but Kash Patel most certainly will be next. We're hearing rumors of this. Politico has talked to White House insiders saying that Trump is fed up with Patel, so he could likely be next. And it's anyone's guess who else could be on the chopping block for Trump at this point. RFK Jr. not doing well. Also, Howard Lutnick looked like a fool during his testimony this week. So we'll see who else Trump decides to purge from his cabinet, but who he replaces them with will be the next biggest thing. Let me know what you think about this in the comments, and I'll see you back here for the 411.
Can you say definitively that you have not been intoxicated or absent during your tenure as FBI?
Oh, it's tough to hear that.
I can say unequivocally that I never listen to the fake news mafia. I'm like an everyday American who loves his country, loves the sport of hockey, and champions my friends when they raise a gold medal and invite me in to celebrate. I've never been intoxicated on the job.
Your lawsuit contends that you were not able to log into the system. What did you think after you were unable to log into the system?
Let's have a survey. How many of you people believe that's true? I was never locked out of my systems. Anybody who says
your lawsuit says the opposite.
Your lawsuit says the opposite was the key line from the reporter at the end. Meanwhile, the Times reported on Tuesday that the FBI began investigating one of the New York Times reporters, Elizabeth Williamson, after she broke the story last month that Patel has assigned FBI SWAT teams to protect his girlfriend and drive her to her concerts because she is a country music sensation. Patel is now denying that the FBI investigated, even though the Bureau basically confirmed to the Times that they had looked into Williamson's, quote, methods. How hard is Kash Patel crushing it right now? What'd you think of that press conference?
Oh, man. He's so uncomfortable in every situation. He's just trying too hard at all times. Just an average everyday American who loves hockey.
Do you think Trump gets rid of Kash?
I don't know.
I would have said no, he'll keep him if it was before Bondi and Noam, but now that he's got those two out, I feel like he's got a taste of like, oh, I fire someone, it's a story for a day and then we move on. So I don't know.
Kash Patel just admitted he was arrested twice in college on alcohol-related charges. Did they not run a background check before hiring the FBI director?
Today on Who's Next to Be.
You're fired. You're fired. You're fired.
Crazy Eyes Kash Patel, who is in 4K doing just filed a lawsuit against the Atlantic magazine for $250 million. So he filed this lawsuit in response to the Atlantic magazine posting a story where they quoted over 9 different sources within the White House who basically said that he's been shit-faced, drunk, absent, late, and overall putting our national security at risk. Then at a press conference today, he basically gave the stupidest fucking bumbled response to the lawsuit in the Atlantic story. Let's watch.
That your unexplained absence has created a national security risk. And beyond that, can you say definitively that you have not been intoxicated or absent during your tenure as FBI director?
I can say unequivocally that I never listen to the fake news mafia. And as when they get louder, it just means I'm doing my job. This FBI director has been on the job twice as many days as every director before me.
And what the fuck does that mean?
What that means is this FBI, with this Department of Justice, has captured 8 of the top 10 most wanted fugitives in the world, twice as many as the Biden administration did in its entire 4 years.
So that means deflection, because I still didn't hear an answer to her question.
I've never been intoxicated on the job, and that is why we filed a $250 million defamation lawsuit.
Still didn't even answer the question. The lady's question was, can you say unequivocally that you have not been intoxicated or absent during your tenure as FBI director, not while on duty? So tell me in the comments who you think is going to be fired next.
Kash Patel is clearly one of those foreigners who believe that they are white. Like once white people give them a significant role, that they can start doing exactly what white people are doing, slacking off, doing crazy shit, and that because they have been chosen by white people that I'm safe, right? And we're watching this situation. I know for a fact he's going to get fired soon. He's going to be the next one out simply because they have to protect Donald Trump, but also because they fucking hate him. Personally, I thought he was going to get fired after the handling of the Charlie Kirk situation. I think that he showed his incompetence during that, but he also showed his laziness during that. If the father of the shooter did not come forward, that man might have been in the wind. I don't believe that they had anything to find that brother. We know that he's going to get fired soon. It's bound to happen. Any day now, actually. I thought he was going to use this lawsuit to kind of like see discovery and see who all was talking shit about them. And that was his point of suing. I thought that he was going to go out and try to threaten these people under the radar, but it ain't going to take that long. Just being real. And there's so many people supposedly coming forward trying to speak on, and to me, that also speaks to, bro, you're the foreigner. You are the foreigner in the White House. You cannot do what white people do. It's just being real.
Kash Patel, your favorite podcast bro / maybe functioning alcoholic, is most likely to be fired according to several sources. Aaron Parnas is reporting that. We'll see if it happens, but news came out that he was arrested for public urination and that he was arrested for public intoxication in his early 20s. While that wouldn't necessarily be damning, that combined with his reputation currently of being a heavy drinker, so much so that reportedly FBI had to have a battering ram ready to awaken him from a drunken slumber, allegedly. Please don't sue me, Kash Patel, for making this video. I heard it's like $250 million if you say something mean about Kash Patel, but the rumor is Kash Patel will be out soon. Last time I reported Pam Bondi would be out soon. She was, and before that, Kristi Noem, the same thing happened. So we'll see if Kash Patel's out soon. But I don't know. Here, let's have a drink to Kash Patel.
Check this out. This is wonderful. This guy wants you to know that he is absolutely not an alcoholic. That's our FBI director, Kash Patel, who just launched a ridiculous $250 million lawsuit against The Atlantic because they dared to report he is a drunk who is abdicating his responsibilities at work, backed by dozens of sources. I trust The Atlantic on this one, and you don't even have to rely solely on them. Just look at the video of him partying hard and chugging beers with the U.S. men's hockey team while he was supposed to be overseas representing the FBI and tightening security around the Olympics. Multiple reports say FBI agents couldn't wake him up and nearly had to use a SWAT battering ram on his door because they feared he might be hurt or dead. Reality is they never used it, but the story spread fast through the Bureau. Now people see the FBI director as an absolute loon. Kash Patel filed this massive defamation suit in D.C., demanding at least $250 million in damages, clearly copying Trump's playbook of absurdly huge lawsuits to intimidate the media and distract from the truth. The Atlantic's piece lays out the embarrassing details he desperately doesn't want you to see, from his freakouts to his alcohol-fueled nights. This is straight intimidation, but we can't let it silence real reporting.
Kash Patel, it's your time to go. It's your time to go. You're going. You're leaving soon. White House insiders are saying that Trump is pissed off at Kash Patel for all of the shit he's been doing, all the drinking he's been doing, all the bullshit he's been doing, all the press he's been getting for all that shit. Trump is pissed off and Kash Patel is going to be fired this year. I mean, this is just so funny to me. Kash Patel will be added to the rotating circus of clowns to get kicked off of the Trump administration. We got Kristi Noem for the failed invasion of Minneapolis by ICE. We got Pam Bondi for the cover-up of the Epstein files. Just crazy shit. It's your time to go. It is your time to go. Kash Patel, tell me, how much money did you make off the grift? Did you make as much money as you thought you were going to make off of this grift? Did licking the boot of Trump that much give you that much? Did trying your damn hardest to cover up for Trump on the Epstein files help you that much? Kash Patel has pretty much just been insider trading, making money off of the administration. He's been going out and drinking. He's been drinking so much and he's been drunk so much on the job that they had to get a SWAT team to open and bust down the door where he was at because he would not reply because he was so drunk. Our FBI director was so drunk, they had to get a SWAT team to get him out because he was so drunk and he was not replying. Our FBI director, by the way, he was only hired because he was such a sycophant to Trump. He kissed Trump's boot so much. Trump knew that he'd be a very, very, very useful idiot to use. I mean, pretty much everyone in the administration is just there so that they can get more money and steal and siphon the wealth off from everyone on the bottom and siphon it up to the top.
And one of the things that Kash Patel said that made me know he was not a serious person, he was not the man for the job, was early on. I don't know if his name had been bantered about or something. He was talking about FBI agents one day, and he says, these guys are cops. And the first thing I'm going to do when I get to Hoover Building is I'm going to send 2/3 of those people back out to go be cops. They need to be cops. Well, goddamn it, he did it. He sent them out to Home Depot parking lots to round up Mexican day laborers is what he did. Yeah. And that's what they have been doing. Yeah. I just don't think he's a serious person. I don't see how anybody can take him seriously.
We knew who Kash Patel was here locally because of the shit show that happened here 10, 12 years ago in front of Len Hughes. I mean, the guy rolls into Judge Len Hughes' court chambers without a suit, right? Without a tie on. And it's a federal judge. This is not Muni court, right? Effectively, Hughes banned him from his courtroom for life, which is kind of like getting kicked out of Guns N' Roses. That's hard to do, you know?
Yeah, when Slash says you have a drug problem, you, my friend, have a drug problem.
Exactly. And that's who the director of the FBI is. And again, we talked about the drunk fest after the men's. I don't care if he goes to the hockey tournament. I don't care if he drinks, but to do it in such a public fashion, I can't imagine any FBI agent, literally the hundreds that I've had interface with over 44 years of doing this, none of them would have done that ever.
Dan, if I took my bureau car to a game and did that, I'd be fired.
Donald Trump could be facing his next big scandal, and it centers on FBI Director Kash Patel, with potential consequences that reach far beyond the United States. An investigation into Mr. Patel by The Atlantic alleges a pattern of excessive drinking, unexplained absences, and growing concern among colleagues about his conduct in office. Based on interviews with more than 20 current and former officials, the report alleges Patel was at times unreachable, with one incident even prompting consideration of forced entry into a reportedly locked room after he failed to respond. The FBI chief says all the claims are defamatory. He's vowing to take legal action and says the Bureau remains focused on national security. But there's another layer to all of this, because concerns about his conduct could themselves pose a national security risk after hackers linked to Iran reportedly accessed the director's personal email and published years' worth of messages and photos online. Here in Washington, the pressure is building, with real questions now over how long he can stay in the job. But Kash Patel's difficulties also raise questions for the Prime Minister. The UK works closely with the FBI through its intelligence sharing alliance with the US. Any concerns at the top could trigger scrutiny over how sensitive information provided by the UK's intelligence agencies are handled on this side of the pond. Now all eyes are on Trump and whether he stands by Patel or cuts him loose.
Oh, that's terrible.
You seem kind of psyched.
No, I'm bugged.
Thank you, Chairman Aguilar. February 25th of this year, Transportation Secretary Duffy posted a picture of Trump's cabinet and arrogantly boasted best cabinet since 1776. In less than 2 months, 3 of those cabinet secretaries are gone. Pam Bondi, Chrissy Nome, and now Lori Chavez de Reamer. I note that Lori Chavez de Reamer can now join Chrissy Nome at a fake position at the Shield of the Americas. The reality is that this cabinet's out-of-control incompetence and corruption have made it the worst cabinet since 1776, and Kash Patel is next. Kash Patel flew on taxpayers' dime to the Olympics, and on taxpayers' dime partied and drank at the Olympics. He's also instilled a culture of fear at the FBI, and he lied about the Epstein investigation when he said that there was no credible evidence that Epstein trafficked any victim to third parties. There's mountains of such evidence. And then this past week, The Atlantic put out an article that shows that Kash Patel appears to be a raging alcoholic. He should not be FBI director. He should go seek help and treatment.
So I was today years old when I learned that Kash Patel actually has an arrest history for public intoxication, being arrested twice for public intoxication. Granted, the second one, if you want to argue semantics, like they usually do, was actually for public urination while intoxicated. And we know this because he actually disclosed this information himself back in 2005 when he was applying to the bar. So while Kash Patel wants to go out here pretending that he doesn't have a drinking problem, which he's clearly had a drinking problem for over 20 years, meanwhile, we're all seeing what kind of an individual he is while he's out just absolutely slamming down beers when he's supposed to be working. But no. He doesn't get drunk on the job, and oh wait, no, he doesn't take vacation time, does he? But it doesn't matter if you're taking vacation time or not, especially when you're clearly vacationing while on the job, getting absolutely pulverized. Good job, guys.
Major news regarding Kash Patel, as The Intercept has published a letter from Kash Patel submitted to the Florida bar as part of his application to become a lawyer in the state. And it reveals that he was arrested on 2 separate occasions, once for public intoxication in 2001 when he was under the age of 21, so underage drinking. And then he was arrested again in 2005 for public urination while intoxicated. Guys, stunning stuff considering what's happening now with Kash Patel, with insiders revealing he has a major drinking problem, and the Atlantic article detailing all of that. And now we are learning about more of his past, where he was arrested twice for this, and he paid the fines on both occasions and wanted the Bar Association to treat those as anomaly, not normal behavior. But it appears that this is possibly his normal behavior. Stunning stuff today, guys. More to come. Check back for updates, and I'll see you back here for the 411.
Thank you for watching Great Minds Blacks.